I don't know if y'all saw my man who zoomed into court. All right, in case you didn't see it, basically, because of the pandemic, ever since the pandemic, court, like as in the American justice system, has started to let people zoom in to some of their cases depending on what it is, which is very progressive. That's wild to let somebody zoom into court and go ahead and give me a head start if I'm found guilty. That's what it is to me. Like, imagine if I had court and they were like, you can zoom in from home, I'm like, all right. But a couple days later, they're like, Mr. Johnson, we find you guilty, you know, please report to. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll be right there. No, but basically, there's a court case where this judge and the lawyers are all in the courtroom, and they let the person that is accused of having a suspended license, they let him zoom into court. And so everybody's there except for him, right? And then he turns his mic and his camera on, and he is driving, all right? It's a suspended license case, but he driving. Suspended license, but you know, he's, you know. And not only is he driving, by the way, he really cutting the wheel when he turns. And so he turns his mic and his camera on, and you can see the judge. The judge is like, And even the judge is like, it's a suspended license case, right? And look, I don't know. Thank goodness, have never had to go to court or Zoom court, all right? So I don't know what they have to do or what they don't have to do, but in my mind, like, why turn the camera on, just turn the mic on? But maybe a condition of Zoom court is that you have to turn the camera on too, to make sure you pay attention and everything. Maybe, I don't know. But he turns his camera on, and the judge's like, sir, are you driving? Are you driving right now? And he's like, he couldn't sound happier. My man is like, yes, Your Honor, I'm pulling up right now, right? And I want to be clear, he's not pulling up to court. He's pulling up to the doctor's office, right? Because, you know, you can sometimes run some errands while you're doing Zoom court, you know, because you don't have to be there. Once again, this is very progressive. This is like real step forward. This is mind blow. I wonder who else they let zoom into court. Like, that'd be funny if they let the bailiff zoom in too. Like, the bailiff at home, but he like, stop it. Y'all, cut it out. Cut it out. Don't make me. I will mute everybody in here. I don't care. I'll shut it down. And so the judge is like, are you driving right now? He's like, yes, but I'm pulling up, you know, I'm about to park right now. And then the judge looks at everybody and goes like, it's hard to make a judge say wow. I've never tried it, but I've watched a lot of court on TV, and I can imagine wow isn't said often. You know, I'm sure even the stenographer was sitting there like, and so then he pulls up, and the judge is like, it's a suspended license case, right? And then his lawyer is like, yes, Your Honor. And he's like, but he's driving right now. Like, he in the car, like we can see him. I saw movement. behind him, which means the car was in motion. He wasn't just sitting in a car, which would still not be advisable to your suspended license case. But like, he wasn't sitting in a car, just movement. They were like, yes, Your Honor. And then he was like, oh, okay. And the judge's name in this case is Cedric Simpson, right? So the guy driving is black. The judge is black. This man is black. He had a black judge, and he had a black judge named Cedric Simpson. He had the blackest judge possible. You had the blackest judge in America as a black man, and you are wasting all of it right now. This is Cedric Simpson. And the way my man was staring at the camera, and then he said, judge says, am I missing something here? Because I know the law. I know so much law, I'm a judge. And I don't know what's going on right now. And so then they were like, no, Your Honor, you're correct. You know, he's driving right now. And it's, you know, his lawyer just over here like, I've watched a lot of judging. I've watched Judge Judy. I've watched Judge Joe Brown, Judge Mathis, and never in the history of judging have I seen a black defendant with a black judge that just was looking at him. And you could tell that Cedric just wanted to be like, nigga. What are you doing? And so he's like, so he has a suspended license case, but he's driving right now. He's driving in front of us. It's on the record that he's driving. So, and then in this moment, you can see Corey is the guy that was driving, right? You can see him realize what's happening on camera. So now he's making the face that the judge made, right? Like now he's like, and at one point, because you know how Zoom does, so anyone making noise, it highlights them for a second, right? And so the judge asked a question like, it's a suspended license case, and he was just driving right now in front of us, and you hear Corey go, And then basically, the Honorable Cedric Simpson was like, I'm gonna need you to drive to jail. But look, there's more to the case. There's actually an incredible amount more to the case, a disappointing amount more to the case. Because basically, this dude spends 2 days in jail, but then it comes to light, I don't know how, probably because of the virality of the clip, that there was actually some form of clerical error way back 2 years ago, so that his license should have never been suspended in the first place. So then he thought he was allowed to drive, right? And so then people come out of the woodwork apologizing, being like, that's so unfair. And then also it was a highlight of local government and how sometimes the government can get things wrong. There's too many people talking to each other. There's too much involved. There's too much paperwork. There's too many wires that can get crossed and everything, because they were like, oh, all you had to do was get this office to speak to this office to reinstate his license, but apparently they never did that, right? So now there was almost like a backlash to the backlash, where people were like, we messed up, we were all laughing at this guy like, what an idiot. Turns out he thought he could drive and everything. So the internet did something it very rarely ever does, ever, for anyone, for any reason. And the internet almost collectively apologized to Corey, right? And it wasn't, obviously to the amount that everyone shared the clip and everyone laughed, but everyone had something to say. Everyone was like, this guy got done dirty and we didn't know enough information. And there was someone else who didn't know enough information, the Honorable Cedric Simpson. There was something about this whole thing that was not sitting right with him, right? And so when Corey showed up for court for this case, he tells Corey, he's like, I did some digging. I looked at the friend of the court office. I looked at, basically their DMV, looked at municipal offices, took it as far as he could take it following a paperwork trail, right? As much as possible. And he said, Mr. Harris, who's Corey, you've actually never had a license. Like you never had a I don't know how we got here. You've never had a license. And then Judge Simpson asked him, he's like, where were you? And I can't remember if he said 2022 or 2023, but he was like, where were you December of 2020 or whatever? And he was like, oh, I think I was, still laid up from my accident and everything. He's like, actually, no, you were at the offices getting your state ID renewed, okay? Because you keep getting state IDs and you've never had a license. What are you doing, buddy? You clearly know how to drive. You should just take the test. And then it turns out from digging deeper into Corey and into his cases and into his problems with traffic stops and everything like that, they found where he had actually admitted, apparently on body cam, to police that pulled him over that he didn't have a license on a totally different time, right? So then he had to report back to jail even though he was out on bond because they found a bench warrant for his arrest from another time he was driving without a license. Corey loved driving without a license. Driving without a license is Corey's bread and butter. He loves... There's just something about driving without a license that's just, it's scrumptious. And I'm not going to judge because I've been there before in some way. Sometimes I do stuff I know I shouldn't do because it's a little bit more fun. Sometimes I'll go to a restaurant and I'll ask for a cup of water. And I get up to the machine and I hit that lemonade. You know what I mean? The sips just taste better when you know you're not supposed to have them. You know what I mean? Walking up to the foul machine like, this one's on Wendy's. I got a newfound appreciation for moms this past week. I love my mom. I've always appreciated my mom, but I mean moms as a whole, you know what I mean? Because the thing is, I was just at an outing, and my friend who's a new mom, she had to run and do something, and so she asked me to hold her baby. When I tell you this was the heaviest baby I've ever... The baby didn't look heavy because it's little. So you think little means little weight. And the weight, she handed me the baby, and the baby is not helping me at all. The baby doesn't even wrap his little arm around my neck or anything. Just the baby trying to be heavy, just doing this. In my arms, I'm fighting to hold this, but I've got him under the armpits, fighting to hold him up. And I'm trying to do that thing, because moms are really good at doing it. You that little hike y'all do? You know what I'm talking about? The baby slipping a little, and you're talking to somebody, but the baby's on your hip, so you do a little hip, 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 and then you catch it. I'm trying to do one of those, but I don't know how to do it. And my whole focus the entire time is do not drop this baby. Do not drop this baby. Your life will be over. The baby's life will be... Just do not drop this baby. And so I've got it like this, and I'm just holding it out, but it's slipping because it's trying to slip. It's just and it's not wiggling, but it's just it wants to be free so bad. And so I'm trying to hike it up real quick. And so I go for a quick hike up where I was I don't want to shake them, but I want to, just pop them up real quick so I can readjust my grip, right? And I also don't want to throw it. Like, I'm not trying to put him up in the air. I'm just trying to get a little bit of distance between him and my hands so I can reposition my hands, right? And so then I try to hike him up, and right at the hike, the baby kicks me. So now he's out. He's not fully out of my hands, but he's at the tips of my fingers. And so I'm like, And now I'm holding him worse. Like now, like he's not upside down, but he's definitely not right side up. Like he's kind of sideways. And this baby is so heavy that my fingers are screaming. Like, I honestly, this is so embarrassing. I'm glad nobody was looking because I was so scared I was gonna drop this baby that I was like, let me just, and so I went ahead and just slowly. Because if I drop the baby slow, it's not dropping the baby. I mean, so I was like, let me get him as close to the ground as I can while I got a grip on him, and then I can readjust from the ground. And honestly, okay, so I put him on the ground, and then I go to pick him up, because in my head I'm like, now I can really cradle him. Now I can scoop the legs and scoop the back and cradle the head and stuff like that. You know, now I can really stand up with him and hold him like a baby, right? But if I thought the baby was heavy when he was handed, trying to pick this baby up from the ground was like Thor's hammer. I don't know what. It's like the baby ate in between me holding him here and putting him down. Because try to pick this baby up from the ground, I honestly, I had to use my legs. Like, I really had to get in squat position. I finally picked this baby up, and I'm holding him like cradled, right? But now he over here trying to slip out of the edge and be upside down. And then just then his mom walks back over, and I'm holding. He's upside down now. I'm holding his shoulder, and his foot is kicking my chin. And I'm holding his stomach around. And she's like, thank you so much. It's like she didn't even know. She's like, thank you so much. She just writes him up. Walks off, and I was like, what is she made of? That's a 600-pound baby.
All right, so I want you guys to get loud and proud for your headliner, Josh Johnson!
Sometimes you hear things that stick with you forever, right? Like one of the things that I heard in school was it was one Newton's laws. It's an equal but opposite reaction, right? And it's like a law of physics, but it's also a law of people to a certain degree. Except we don't agree on what equal is. Do you know what I mean? Like if somebody does you dirty and then you want revenge, whenever you feel satisfied, your friends, your family might look at you like you crazy. Like you like oh, you didn't have to do all that, right? You know what I mean? Your friends and family might even tell you, hey, stop, you got him. You got him, I swear you got him, right? And you're like, no, it's not enough. Like, because you locked in, right? You locked into revenge. Maybe, look, also because of how the world works and because of how we're all entering and exiting each other's lives, sometimes you make somebody pay for the sins of other people. Sometimes they did you dirty, but they didn't do all of it. That's not their whole fault. Like you clearly let out some demons on somebody else. You especially know you're doing it if you accidentally call them the wrong name. You know what I mean? You know, like it's your last day at work, you quitting. You quitting this job and they ain't done you dirty too many times and you're sick of it, right? And then at the last second when you cursing your boss out and you telling him where he can shove it and you can tell him how he treated you and how he no longer has any power over you and you can tell him to go right to hell and then you accidentally say, Dad. And then both y'all have to sit with that for a second, like. Now the exit interview is awkward, right? Because you were on a roll. You had that whole speech prepared. That dad thing came out of nowhere, right? It was okay. There was this one time when I was living in Chicago that I was near Wrigleyville. And Wrigleyville, if you don't know, that's where the Cubs play. And it's like the ratchet bar bro-y type part of Chicago, right? So there's a lot of fights for no reason. There's a lot of like catcalling. There's just so much chaos happening. And it's all stuff that is like it doesn't faze you as much when you're like in your early 20s, right? You're just like, oh, I'm out where the party is. And I think if you go back there at like 30, you'll be like, ooh. Everyone here should call their mom. Everybody here. You know? But while I was out there, there was this guy that was walking and he was drunk. He had that like... I've never seen anybody walk like this. Like, he really was walking like his feet couldn't find the ground. And it's always gonna be there. It's always, every time. But he was like, And I couldn't believe he wasn't falling. He was staying upright and everything. And this guy was passing. With his girlfriend. And the drunk guy, as they pass him, he clocks the girlfriend, and he just casually, like, spins on a heel and slaps her ass, right? Yeah, so she notices. She very much notices, and it's crazy. Almost all this could have been prevented because he's so off his balance that he almost missed, right? He almost had a very different night. And so basically he slaps her ass, and then she turns around, and then her boyfriend turns around. Now, he has not withdrawn his hand fast enough for the boyfriend to not know what just happened, right? So then he turns around, and this guy is like, the drunk guy is bigger than the guy whose girlfriend just got her ass slapped. So even though that dude goes like toe to toe with him in the next moment, I was still worried about the little guy because the little guy was little, right? And even in his drunken state, he's still like aware enough to know he was big enough to be an asshole, right? Because instead of apologizing or anything like that, he's like, what you gonna do, little man? What you gonna do, right? And he didn't say it like that. He was like, what's he gonna do, little man? What you gonna do, little man? What you gonna do, little man? Huh? Ain't nobody. What you gonna do, little man? And little dude wasn't little for long. Because he popped that dude square in the mouth. And then big dude finally found the ground, right? And I had never seen this before in real life, but little dude didn't just fight him. He started doing actual wrestling moves on the street, right? This man, girlfriend Ben stepped out of the way, and this man goes... This man went like, this dude was going off, right? And it got to the point where even as a bystander, I was like, I think you got him. I think you got him. Because the big dude is not getting up at a certain point. He tried to get up the first time, and him trying to get up was hilarious because, okay, so let me see if I can do it. So he over here like this, right? So he on the ground. And then he tries to like, because he's so drunk, he doesn't know he on the ground, so he tries to walk up. This man tried to walk up while he was getting hit. He was getting hit in his face, and he was like, what is stopping me? It's crazy. What's happening? And then he really tries to like walk up, and then he finds the ground with his hand, and then he goes, "You gonna stop hitting me in my damn face?" And then when he said that, the dude uppercut him, and he went flat back down, right? And then the beating did turn a little bit too much into dancing, right? Like then the beating, because then he started to do stuff that was not even wrestling moves anymore. He was just like, pow! To the point where even his girl was like, hey, you got him. But you could tell, you could see it on his face that something deeper was bothering him than just this moment, right? Because if you're not, and I'm speaking on the behalf of men who are not big, right? If you are not a big man, you've probably been punked a couple times in your life, right? Or at least someone tried to punk you because they didn't know they shouldn't try you, right? And so then that stuff starts to well up, and then out of nowhere, you finally have a righteous opportunity to exercise all of that anger, so then you let loose. And when you don't stop, people are like, damn. And I said that because that's the best way I can illustrate what happened between Kendrick and Drake. Because Drake makes his little like club beats, and he does his little, and he's a good rapper, don't get me wrong, he's a good rapper, but he makes his little like get drunk to this type songs, dance and everything. And then he was calling out Whitney, Kendrick's wife, because that's what he likes to do. He likes to attack rappers by their wife. If you look through his catalog, he does it every time. And then Kendrick said, okay. I promise you, nothing but sweet chin music. I'm ready. All right? Because I think in order to understand, I really don't think people get it. In order to understand how important and powerful that pop-out concert was, you have to understand Nipsey Hussle. Okay? Nipsey Hussle was a rapper that a lot of people, at least as many people as I think should know, don't know. But what is one of the most important things about Nipsey Hussle, and what he would probably want you to know about him and remember about him, besides the fact that he was a phenomenal artist, is that he spent his time, his money, his attention, and all of his intention in improving the lives of the people that grew up around him, improving his community. Okay? This dude would pay for shoes for kids in elementary school that didn't have them. He would get repaved basketball courts that were in disarray, right? He would pay and help raise funds for funerals of victims and their families of gun violence, right? And this is all in his neighborhood. So the same way that people come up, he tried to bring everybody with him. That was his mission. He made his mission because, yes, he was a great artist and he was getting on and everything, but you just getting out is not enough, right? Sometimes people make it out and then people don't, how do I put this? It's not enough if you just make it out. You want to bring people with you. Imagine you're in a burning building and so is your whole family. What credit is it to you? What does it really say about you if just you make it out? It means you ran out. And you left everybody else. And Nipsey was like, I will die in a burning building if it means I get as many people out as possible, right? You know? Because it's very easy. It's one of the easiest things to do because all of your experience is relative to you, right? So you actually, as much as we may look down on it, you can't always fault someone who forgets where they came from, especially if you came from a bad place. Sometimes you try to forget where you came from, you know? I used to think about that. I was like, damn, if I get rich enough, ooh, I won't be able to find this place on Google Maps. You know? But I mean it. It's like, that's an amazing thing. And the other amazing thing, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way, but Nipsey did so much good. He did so many impactful things. He started so many programs, and he taught how to give back, and he taught people while he was still alive. It's like, I want to instruct Black Americans on how to build franchises for themselves, right? So that when we make the money, we'll know what to do with the money, right? And he did all this with what I would consider very little money. Because yes, he was a big artist, and yes, he was a millionaire. But when he passed, when he was murdered, his net worth was about $8 million. And I think that people don't recognize how low that is in the grand scheme of how rich some of these artists are. We have artists that are billionaires, right? We have artists that are on track to be billionaires. And they don't do what he did with so much, with literally a fraction of what they had, right? And so I think it's important, in order to understand that pop-out concert, it's important to understand Nipsey and what he stood for and what he was trying to do. It's also important to at least understand the image and the legacy of Kobe, because Kobe was also this integral part of LA, integral part of sport, right? And no matter what you think about the man himself, what he did in basketball, the passion that he had, his obsession with his passion, is exactly what he wanted to impart on people for whatever it is that they do. Whatever it is you do. It doesn't have to be entertainment. It doesn't have to be a sport. It could just be the passion you have for being a father, right? If your obsession is being the best at whatever your passion is, you will make an impact, right? It's why to this day, and when I was little, if I have a ball of paper and a trash can is far enough away, Kobe. And if I make it, I lose my mind. You know? And so it's also important, no matter what you think of the man himself. Kendrick is someone that both of these individuals showed love to. And he's someone that has an obsession for his passion, which is music. And he's also someone that through his music, and at least in the intention of how he speaks in every interview and in everything that I've read about him, wants to give the same way that Nipsey gave, right? And sort of be a beacon for those same principles. So then, when you have something like the Pop-Out concert, which is on Juneteenth, which is a liberation day for Black people, right? And then they all come together. And when I say they, I mean every section, every known and probably unknown section of LA's gang members were in one place at the same time. That's crazy. They were all there. And everyone made it about the beef. And he played the diss tracks. Of course they do. But it was bigger than that. There was a 4-hour concert with artists from all over LA, all over West Coast, putting on, making their amazing music shown to the world. And there was even a little detail, like, I haven't verified this thing, but I heard about it. And I know of someone that, at least I think it happened to, where the concert tickets sold so fast that I guess they were checking zip codes. And if you didn't live in or around LA or the West Coast, they were refunding people so that people in LA could go to the concert, right? You know? Because the thing that Kendrick gives, at least to me, the thing that Nipsey gave, at least to me, and the thing that Kobe gives to a certain degree is an appreciation and a strengthening of community. Community is very important. And just because you're not a member of a particular community doesn't mean you can't help, doesn't mean you can't feel a part of it. But if you're in a community, it's important to give back. I think that's the thing I'm trying to establish, right? Is that if you're a part of a community, it's important to give back, right? Which is why, outside of any colorism, outside of any part of the beef, the thing that bothered people, and the thing that I think gets missed, because people want to be fans in whole of a person and their work, and it's just not possible. You know what I mean? It's not. You don't actually know the person, so maybe they made a good thing, and maybe you like it, and that can be enough, right? So this isn't to
discredit the entirety of someone making work and then also having to back up that work with being an angel. But I think what bothers people is that community is sometimes equal to culture. So if you're not a member of a community and you take from the community, let's say you're a business that moves in and all you do is sit there and let the people spend money, and then you send that money away from the people who spent the money that you put that. What place do you have here? We're trying to build something, we're trying to build up. And you're just taking, right? And I understand business is business, but you're just taking. And I think that's what bothers a lot of artists about Drake. It's not that he's light skinned, whatever. It's literally, I promise you, it's the fact that you're not actually trying to be or in the community, but you take, and what do you give? You're a billionaire unto yourself. Who else did you get out the house?
Preach.
Because Nipsey did so much, and he did it, and he left with a net worth of $8 million. How many hundreds of millions? How many hundreds of millions does Drake have? And I'm not telling anybody how to spend their money. I'm just saying that when we look at who's doing what and when they're doing it, you got a lot left. So when you have a concert like that, right? When you have a concert that's a day of liberation and you've grabbed all of these different sections out of LA, like you gotta understand what it is for some of these people to be in the same room. By any other metric of any other time, they would be in the streets killing each other. And now they're all inside in one place right now, right? So I think that's what got so many people so emotional about that moment when they were all on stage together dancing together, dancing the way, and I understand that there are lots of black people who don't have the take that I have about it, that think that any mention or any semblance of gang culture shouldn't be equated to any part of blackness, and I understand that, but I'm saying we are where we are, right? Those are black people, and yes, they've been in situations and they've been in conditions where they are gang members, but if you have a day like the pop-out concert, and you have another day like the pop-out concert, you have another day like the pop-out concert, all of a sudden, all this stuff, it just disintegrates. Do you know what I mean? It's all about a future, right? You had more gang members than any of, we do not know how many gang members were on that stage. But they were all dancing together. And sure, it was to call Drake a pedophile. I understand that. I understand. But they had to dance to something, right? And so it was actually fascinating to watch because there were clearly a lot of people on that stage that did not want to be on the camera. They didn't want to, you know what I mean? They didn't want to be on the Amazon. Because even if I think one of the reasons people are having trouble finding the words to describe what an impactful and beautiful moment it was is because to tell the whole of it is not only hard to do, it does feel a little like snitching. You know what I mean? Like if you're like, he was there and he was there and he was there. Now all of a sudden the LAPD is like, tell me more. You know? And so maybe for the good of unity, the good of the community, maybe even the good of the culture, maybe Drake should try one more time. Maybe he should.
You ready for your headliner? Yeah. I want y'all to put your hands together for Josh Johnson.
A while back, I got invited to a friend's house, and he had cooked for me and some of his other friends. And when I say cooked, I mean like he went all out. You know, it was about 6 of us all together, right? But
this is like multi-course, 5 hours of preparation, been cooking all day type thing. So by the time we get there, there's a whole spread across the table. There's stuff that he's pulling out of the oven. And we were touched that our friend wanted to do this for us, right? Took his own money, used the skills that he had to make good food, to have a good experience, have a good meal with us, right? And so, you know, we sit down and we sort of like half plated already, you know, when we sit down. And as soon as we get ready to eat, I guess he didn't pay his light bill because as soon as we get ready to leave, the lights go out, right? And we were, when I say we were ready to eat, I'm talking about napkin in and everything, chair all brought up and stuff, and then the lights pop off, right? And then he doesn't mention it at all, right? I'm scooping my chair up and the lights go out, and he doesn't even go, ooh, like nothing. He just, y'all, let's eat. And it is pitch black, okay? And in my head, I'm like, why? How often does this happen that you're not gonna say anything at all? Not acknowledge it one bit. And so then, like, I'm sitting in the dark and I'm looking around. I can't see anybody, but I'm looking around. You know the way you try to meet eyes when something wild happens and everything. And then after like a couple seconds, he was like, wait. I'm waiting to hear why. Maybe it's a breaker issue. Maybe it's just, you know, the block or something like that. And he's like, wait. Let's say grace. To be fair, when I say grace, I bow my head and close my eyes anyway, but it's different when the darkness is not your choice, right? There's something about saying grace in the dark that's genuinely menacing, okay? Because it's a prayer over your meal, but if it's pitch black and you hear somebody else go, Lord, please bless this food for the nourishment of our bodies, you're like, this one doesn't sound right. I don't like that. And it must happen a lot, because not only does he not address it, but he is going with his fork and knife, and he's the only one out of us that's got any rhythm going with the plate, okay? Because he chose the right friends to do this in front of, because he doesn't mention it, so we don't want to mention it because we don't want to feel rude, you know? We out here treating broke like a country, like I wouldn't want to offend his culture, you know what I'm saying? Like, if eating in the dark is part of his customs, let's go ahead and acquiesce. And so we're all in the dark, and I could have sworn I knew how to use a fork and knife. I was positive, because I've been doing it my entire life. But it's not until you're in the dark that you realize, at least me, I have no idea where my mouth is, because we already had some peas and carrots and some mashed potatoes on the plate, right? But like I said, this is all like Thanksgiving style and everything, all family style. So a lot of the dishes are in other containers on the table. So I'm just trying to start with what I have. So then I go to scoop up some mashed potatoes, and then I stab myself in the cheek, right? So and he had done a good job with the mashed potatoes, because they were nice and buttery, which meant I couldn't tell if I was bleeding or not, because it was just, because I had hit it hard. I got two prongs in the mouth and 2 prongs on the cheek, but I'm like, that got me good. I need to slow down, right? Because you're not really thinking about how fast your hand is moving when you try to eat. So then I'm like, let me go ahead and attack the peas. But the peas, I can't find my spoon, right? So the peas are gonna have to go with this fork, and they are slipping. I'm imagining they're going right off the plate. And so I'm trying to stab for some peas, but everybody can hear me just clinking, just hitting plate, right? And finally I feel a little thunk. That's a carrot. So then I lift up slowly, I bite a carrot. It's hard, because he didn't actually cook everything well, just the mashed potatoes. So now I'm eating bad food in the dark, right? Because every time I do get a bite of something, the food is still hot, because he did a good job of plating, right? So there was a little bit of chicken, little chicken thigh that was already on the plate and stuff. So I cut that up a little bit, put the chicken in my mouth. But now I didn't realize how hot it would be, because I couldn't see steam, right? So now I have burned my tongue in the moment, and I'm doing that And I'm not the only one, because he is the only one hitting any of this with rhythm. Yeah, I mean, like his fork, you can tell his fork slicing where it's supposed to slice, that he's scooping where he's supposed to scoop and everything. And everybody else, I'm assuming, is just making noise, because there are some, I don't hear any chewing. So I feel like the person next to me was just like, because the meat was tough, right? And so then, like I said, it was like Thanksgiving family style and stuff. So then our host pops up, is like, I forgot some of the cranberry sauce. Let me go up and get it. And for as adept, okay, he gets up and all we hear is, ow. I'm back. And so I know that I'm making an attempt to eat. I'm doing my best, right? But then apparently someone else is, because from the other side of the table, I can hear someone, because once again, it's family style. I hear somebody, hey, sheepishly, hey, you don't need to whisper, it's just dark. Hey, real quick, okay. Sorry. Can somebody pass the green beans? And so then the person who thought they had the green beans starts feeling for the container, right? So now we hear them plopping along the table and everything. And then they finally grab it, and then they from over here, who wanted it again? And instead just saying their name, they're like, over here. So then we had to get the green beans across the table, Marco Polo style. And I could feel people passing it past me, but I didn't want to be involved, right? I didn't want to have anything to do with this whatsoever. And so then I can see, no, I can't see anything, but like I can tell that the person to my left is trying to reach for it from the person from my right. And so I'm like, I don't need to help, I just need to lean back. But because they can't see, they lean forward and just grab my face. And then they're like, is this it? I'm like, no, it's not. And so I push their hand forward. They actually grab, I'm assuming, the casserole platter. And then I think they dropped it a little bit, because then I feel a hot splash, right? So I get a hot splash, boom, right on the face. And I'm just like, oh. They get the green beans over to that side of the table. Turns out it was yams, okay? So, and when you go to take what you think is gonna be green beans and it's yams, it's a texture you'll never forget, right? No one was ready. And so once I get like hot splash, because it was whatever it was, it burned a little. I was ready to go, and it had been some time, you know what I mean? Like, most meals only take, 15, 20 minutes to really eat until you get full anyway, and it had been however long it had been, I don't know. And so I'm ready to go, but I don't want to be the first one. So then I'm not good at it, but I try to throw my voice. A little bit like, well, this has been so great. And obviously everybody felt the same way, because then as soon as I scoop my chair to get back, everybody else get ready to get up, right? And so we all start getting up and we thank him for cooking and everything. And then we feel our way for the door. And as soon as we open the door, a bunch of hallway light spills in. I'm like, why didn't we just... This was wholly unnecessary. And so I go to leave, and as I'm leaving, I pass a mirror in his lobby, which is the first look I get of my face. I haven't looked like this after I've eaten since I was a baby, all right? because I got mashed potatoes here. I knew about those, right? But then I got a little bit of like chicken right here, just a couple of strands of chicken. And then this was gravy. So I got splashed with hot gravy coming down my face. That's why I vet people now. Like now when people offer to have me over and cook, I ask some of their friends, I'm like, hey, have you been over there before? Are they a good cook? Do the lights stay on? Things that you just need to know before you go. You know it's a really, really beautiful thing? Black women are having an incredible summer. This is phenomenal, right? Like just in the Olympics, Lauren Scruggs is the first black woman to win an individual medal in fencing. And not only do I just love seeing black people succeed, I love seeing black people succeed at stuff I didn't know we did. So if you don't know what fencing is, because I didn't know. It's basically when people cosplay Bridgerton, all right? Okay, so it's a mix of stuff. So like, when people go on a padded cell, right? They do that, but they wear the cell, okay? So they go ahead and wrap themselves in like a padded cell and stuff, and then they get that stance, right? They get that long stance, and then they got their little sword. It's thin, and then they sort of try to musketeers each other until one of them get the most points, right? I still haven't figured out why they always do it. To me, it would just make more sense to have it and be like, ah! Like that seems like you really get some points just really coming at somebody, right? And I thought, as I thought about it more and as I learned more about the sport, which I still don't know very much, I thought to myself, man, I probably could have been pretty good at fencing if I had applied myself, because I grew up in the South with black grandma. So I'm used to the sound of because my grandma and I had this thing, right? Like if I was really acting up, if I was bad enough, right? She would tell me, go outside. There's a dead bush, and go ahead and pick your switch. And if you don't know what picking a switch is, if you were born after Child Protective Services, picking your switch was a form, after you've been acting up and go out there and pick your switch, it was a form of psychological torture, because you would get out there and then you trying to pick the switch most likely to break. Because you're like, all right, let me see. I'll let her get 3 good licks in, but then it'll snap and she'll be like, let bygones be bygones, right? And so you go out there, and I would go out there, I'd be testing them. I'd be like, that one got too much bend to it. Let me guess. And so then you bring your switch back to your grandma, and then she go to pop it a couple times, and just out of reflex, you start, whoo, whoo. It's hot, right? I think if my grandma had whooped me just a few more times, I really could have been a medalist in fencing. Like, I could have been like... And then, Lauren is amazing, but you also have Simone Biles. The most decorated gymnast of all time. She won again today. I thought they were done. She won with the vault. A lot of people are amazed at how high, how elegantly, just the way that she moves through the air, the strength that she has, the grace in her movements and stuff like that. And some people are surprised at how high she can go and all that stuff. I'm not at all. I'm surprised that she comes back down to earth. Because I saw just a picture of her doing the vault, and when she flew, I was like, y'all, she gone. She going to space. Incredible. Like, Simone will get me so hyped up. I remember the first time I saw her. First time I ever saw her perform at all in one of her events. And I got so hyped, I tried to do a cartwheel. That's what I can't stand with people that are good at stuff. They make it look easy, and then you do it, and then you almost snap your whole spine. Because she did some routine where she was like, boom, 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 and she was just everywhere and nowhere at the same time. She was flying, she was coming down, and then she got done, and I was like, ooh, that's so cool. And then my back hit the wall. I just started sliding down. Even outside of Olympics, you got Kamala Harris. Joe Biden steps aside, Kamala takes up the mantle. She is a presidential candidate and everything. And, you know, when she enters the race, she's actually polling slightly higher than Biden was, right? Really like giving Trump a run for his money to a certain degree. Like she's polling a little bit higher. And then in the time since, she's been polling, ticking up and everything. And there's just been so many instances of like let's say she's on camera or something. This happened a few days ago. She was walking up the stairs already. An improvement, right? She was walking up the stairs to the plane that was waiting for her, and a reporter yelled, right? A reporter was like, oh, I'm like trying to answer, you know, get her to answer a question. And she turned, because she heard him, she turned. She turned because she heard him, right? And then he's like, have you picked a VP yet? And she went, no, not yet. And then she keeps walking up. Now, this may not be a big deal to some, but if you are a Democrat, it's a lot more multitasking than we've been used to in a long time. She can walk, she can hear, and she can talk at the same time. That's wild. I'm not saying it's new, but it's been a minute. And just when it felt like her campaign couldn't get any more momentum, Trump went to the National Association of Black Journalists. And I want to say something real quick, and I really want you to hear me when I say this, all right? For real. Please, right? Please hear me when I say this. I think that it's important, no matter who you are, because other countries are better at doing this than we are sometimes. No matter who you are, I think it's important for someone to go where most people oppose them and express their ideas. I think it's important because it's important for us to have discussions that are real. A discussion where the person who believes the thing said the thing to you and you're not hearing it secondhand from someone you already agree with. Part of why we are the way we are right now is that people don't really want to listen to someone that they are diametrically opposed to. They want to hear from someone they already like, but someone you already like tends to believe what you believe. So then we're playing telephone with each other's ideas sometimes, right? And so I do think that it was good what he did. He went to a place where he was not gonna be lauded over, was not gonna be like babied with what he's trying to say. He went to a place where he was opposed. I think it's good what he did. He just shouldn't have done this. Do you see what I mean? You know what I mean? Because he went to the He went to the National Association of Black Journalists, and this is my thing. A lot of people didn't really talk about this, but they were opposed within the group if he should come or not. There were some people that were like, we shouldn't platform him. I can't believe y'all are even inviting him. And there were other people that said, hey, look, this is a presidential candidate. We need to hear out whatever it is he has to say because he could potentially become the president. So you had both those ideas bouncing back off of each other, bumping heads. And then you had me. I was in a very particular camp, which was let him cook. Because, you know, this dude rolls up and pretty early on, I say first 3 minutes, this dude said she was Indian and then one day she just turned black. He said turned black. And I was like, Donnie, what else you got? That's a little while later, he hit it. He hit it. I didn't know if it would come up again. I've been waiting. He hit it. He was like, the immigrants are coming and they are taking the black jobs. I've been wondering what a black job was since the debate because he said at the debate and nobody called him on it. Nobody caught it or anything. Black jobs. And then one of the women up there, because it was 3 women interviewing him. 3 black journalists were interviewing him. And one was like, sir, what is a black job? And then he was like, a job anybody could have. You know, and look, I don't know Kamala. I don't know anybody on her campaign or anything, but I know that they had to be watching. They had to be watching that the way that we watch Powerball. Just sitting there like, say turn black again. Say turn black, say turn black one more time. Please, please, please. Turn black, turn black. I'll be happy with a Negro. Can we get a Negro? Turn black or Negro, please.
Make it loud for the very funny Josh Johnson.
I don't know if y'all saw it yet, but Justin Timberlake got arrested. Justin Timberlake got arrested for a DWI in what he was in the Hamptons. How fast do you have to be going as a white man in the Hamptons to get pulled over? Because I was reading the story and this man gets pulled over and then I guess his friends noticed that he left or whatever, so then they also left and then they saw him getting pulled over, so they pulled up and they were trying to like beg the cop to cut him a break. They're like, he's I don't know if he was close to home, but they were like making excuses for him. And in my head, even in that moment, I was like, why didn't y'all give him a ride? Like that's Justin Timberlake is so rich. How do you have all that money and you don't have a driver? That's crazy. That's so irresponsible. You got all the NSYNC money. Could have hired one of them to drive. I was reading the story. It was it was heartbreaking. Not even as a, I don't know what's happening. I truly don't. I truly have no idea. But like, that shit sound like an attack. God, who makes that their alarm? God damn. That's the most savage. It feels like my high school bully came to the show. That is wild. No, you're fine. Life happens, but you gotta pick a different one, because that feels so crazy. Because the first time I heard it, I was like, maybe I'm a little too hot in this hoodie. Maybe I'm about to faint because I feel like I'm outside right now. And then I heard it again, I was like, nah, that's crickets. Jeez. What? I didn't know we had beef like that. You were over here like... And I'm gonna sit in the front too. I got his ass. No. I got him. Man, no, it feels like an ex paid you. That is so wild. No, I'm gonna wait till he think he making one of his little points. Nah, I got his ass. Oh, God. Oh. No. I don't know. I feel weird about it. I feel like maybe you look at Justin Timberlake and whatever hex Britney Spears put on is working. It's working overtime. And fame is a very interesting thing. Fame is a mystery. It really is, because Justin Timberlake is doing an arena tour. A whole arena tour. But when he got pulled over and they asked him to step out of the car, the cop didn't know who he was. The cop didn't know who he was because the cop was too young. And I don't know about you, but that hurt me. I was reading the article and it said that the cop was too young to know, and I think I got 3 wrinkles on my knuckles. Right then, I was like, No, it was absolutely insane. Doesn't know who he was. Like, if only Justin had been pulled over by a single mom of 2. You know what I mean? Just a millennial single mom of 2. She would have been like, I'll give you a ride. Come on, Justin. No, put the lights on and everything. Woo, woo, we gotta get Justin home. Then they took that man to jail to take a picture. That picture, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's not an album cover. That face that Justin made is the most encapsulating face of a man in trouble I've ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? Like you can see in his eyes, he thinking about how he'll have to call Jessica. Whoa. That was wild. And then, this is my conspiracy theory. There's nothing to back up what I'm saying. There's not a shred of evidence, and there's not a word from anyone that backs up what I'm saying. But I think, okay. Do y'all remember Justin? You remember that decade that Justin wanted to be black? Do you remember that? decade that Justin was like, y'all remember that, right? That I feel like at first when he got there and they flashed the picture, and also I'm sure that they turned the brightness up extra on mug shots because like people who you could tell were ready don't look ready when they take the picture. That thing is so bright, it must be prolonged, make you open your eyes to be like, huh. Like it's. I think after he took the picture and he's also sobering up a bit, he was like, wait. This is just street cred. Let me go ahead and milk it, right? Because there have been varying reports on whether or not Justin was handcuffed, right? And personally, my conspiracy, I don't think he was. I feel like Justin was like, look, I know I'm about to go, but can you cuff me real quick? And the cop was like, what? It's like, can you cuff me real quick? Like, just, there's gonna be people waiting out there. Can you cuff me real quick? And he's like, I don't even know you. Like, please just do it. He's like, I'm not gonna do that, but I'll just stand in front of the door, hold the door open. He was like, okay, all right. And then he walked out, and if you look at the thing, he's got his hands clasped together, but you don't see any like loose chain dangling. And when you zoom into the picture, it looked like a little bit of leather on that. Like, that's a bracelet. That's a bracelet, but then JT over here doing his best Malcolm X impression. My man. Another black man locked up. Yeah. Actually, okay. Did y'all see the white woman that got in trouble for saying the N-word? I know, you said which one. Okay, fair enough. Okay. I say the because this was the for me. It's like other people were saying it, people were saying it all the time, but this one felt especially crazy, so I followed the story because it is captivating. Okay, so basically, okay, where do I even start? There's a thing called trad wife. Now, trad wife is short for traditional wife, right? Trad wife is like this content thing that they do on TikTok. It's spilled over to Instagram a little bit, and it's basically women doing like stuff around the house while telling women to be better women, right? It's just like, why don't you be a lady while she makes a pie or something? I don't get it. It's not for me. I'm not who watches it. But basically, there was this young white woman that was over here cooking something. It didn't look done. And maybe it was done. Maybe she's bad at it. I don't know. But it did not look done. But then she's talking about her friends, and then she says, because then some of my friends out here are just like, out here dating these guys and, broke ass niggas, right? And she says it without missing a beat. She says it like you're not gonna hear it, right? So then, of course, everyone who saw this, like, it started this frenzy online, right? And so there were all these people, she did on TikTok, there was all these people commenting, replying, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? Are you trolling? All stuff like that, right? And then she makes another video, and she's like, look, I made a video earlier that offended a community or something, and like, and I've really listened to the feedback, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't really give a care. Like, I don't know. It's like, so then they found her job, right? Which is crazy because you a trad wife. Why you working? Why? You know what I mean? Why are you're supposed to be a traditional wife. Why are you working at all? You can't trad wife on the side. You can't. There's no such thing as halfway crooks. You know what I mean? You gotta be all in or all out, right? And so then they found her job, then they got her fired from her job, right? So then everyone was like talking about how, she clearly got fired, even though they don't say her name, they issued a press release because why else would they do it? And they were like, yeah, certain individuals not working here anymore. So then she starts trying to cozy up to like, Newsmax and like One Nation News and just a lot of the alt-right on Twitter and everything. And she takes this spin of like, I was canceled, right? So she gets on Newsmax real quick, but she also just doesn't quite have the juice. You know what I mean by that? She doesn't quite have the like, the presence and the energy of like a real racist that's gonna be a newscaster. You know what I mean? Like, she just doesn't have it. Like when you're watching her, you're like, she's saying bad things and they're annoying, but I'm not angry. She just doesn't have the oomph to get me there. You know what I mean? Like, I've just never seen diet racism before, but that was it. So then she makes more videos trying to double down harder. And in these upcoming videos, she just gets way worse with it. Gets like even more bigoted with it. So she's tweeting the N-word all the time. She's been tweeting the N-word nonstop since she got fired, right? And now she's making videos where she's saying the F-word, right? And so she's just going after everybody, just trying to prove how terrible that she is, right? And so then she starts trying to cozy up to a lot of these, like, especially neo-Nazis as much as she can. And then a turn takes place. An incredible turn that I could not have predicted. One of the most insane things that has maybe happened so far this century, the neo-Nazis start rejecting her as a psyop. Because they feel what I feel. They see the video and they're like, you don't mean it though. Like, it's not... It's not like coming out of your stomach, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you're not even saying it with bass, like, like, and so then they were like, no, don't trust her, okay? Don't listen to her, don't follow her. She working for the CIA, she probably a Fed. They all turned on her. They started bullying her. It was absolutely insane. It was one of those things where then she keeps trying to cozy up to him. She keeps trying to like take pictures with him. She's going to events and stuff like that. And some of the ones that roll with her are rolling with her in real time, and they're like making fun of how other people are making fun of her, but you can tell she's still not like in yet, She's not like with them hard. But then there are some people that can't stand her so much. This happened like a week ago. So in the course of 3 days, they can't stand her so much that they start digging up her old tweets, right? So then another thing I never would have seen coming, they dig up her old tweets and they find old, not racist tweets from like 2 years ago where she was telling somebody, hey, that's actually appropriation. You might not want to do that. And so now she getting canceled by the neo-Nazis for old, not racist tweets. So then she over here fighting for her life, trying like N-word, F-word, everything, just throwing it all out there, trying to see what sticks. And then other people will comment under her on Twitter like, is this you, bitch? Miss Stolen Land? And she just played it. She played it poorly. That's what happened. She could have had a real shot. She could have, but she doesn't have enough of the real. You can tell she's not really racist. I know it's a weird thing to say about somebody who's been saying the N-word nonstop for a week, but you can just tell she doesn't have the fire in her. That's not how you do it. You were making racist people uncomfortable. There were racist people commenting under her like, this is uncouth. That's not how you do it. If you really want to be somebody as a racist, if you really want to make waves as a bigot, you start out slow. You start with a bunch of slow and steady dog whistles over decades. You know what I mean? You never say the word outright. You throw out a thug here every once in a while. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, like on a holiday, you can get real crazy with it. You can do like a animals or something. It's like, get people going, Plant your feet, but don't dig too deep. And then after a while, you start to ingratiate yourself. They start to be like, hey, she's one of us. And then they bring you in, and maybe they bring you in on a temporary basis, and they give you like a little guest spot every now and again. And then after a couple decades, you get a hosting gig, Because be honest, like if a week from now, Megyn Kelly said the N-word, we'd be like, yup. We expected that. She's been earning it over decades. The expectation lands right on the strip perfectly. And then we also find out that she might be single, so you're not only not a trap wife, you're not a wife. What are you doing? Where's your man right now? Like you weren't a trap wife. You were working. You were a mom, but you were working, and you're a single working mom. That's a bigger demographic to appeal to. She really put herself in the position where she really needs a husband like this.